Oh, please don't mind me. I just stepped out of the shower, the place where I get a certain percentage of my inspiration. And then I run and I do the study and I develop the study. And then I can't wait. I can't wait. I set up the lights and the cameras and everything. And now I got to do this. Okay. So if you can handle, looking at this scruffy old face, I've got a good one for you today. Hang with me. I don't know how many people are into Russian literature, but before I went to Russia, I saw a really cool movie. I studied the language a little bit, never learned it. A few words like Nostrovia, Nostrovia. Um, Paka, I want to talk about the others, the others. You know, most people spend a good portion of their lives worrying about what other people are doing, what other people think, and how to fit into whatever moral or social setting uh, we've been dropped into, right? We're trained by the outer life long before we ever discover if we even have an inner one. And that's what my videos are about. We're going to stretch that inner one out a little bit. The outer life teaches you to do before you are, right? To react before you reflect, and to perform before you feel, to survive before you understand. Mm. It rewards compliance, not consciousness. It pushes you into movement without presence, into decisions made from fear, shame, confusion, or dependency. And if you want a perfect illustration of this, well, you look at the Russian classic Oblomov. I watched this movie a few times before I went back in the turn of the millennium. I went to St. Petersburg on a dating thing, on a romance. It was so good, man. It was so good. Russia blew my mind. St. Petersburg, do it, do it. Save the money, go. When the time is right, politically, of course. Well, there's a scene, one of the most psychologically revealing scenes in the whole story, okay, where Oblomov is facing a financial crisis. He needs to move into a smaller apartment. It's a practical thing to do. It's the sane thing to do. But Sachar, his servant, reprimands him, not because the apartment is too small, not because it's unsafe, but because of what others will think. And Oblomov, this man who spent his entire life drifting between lethargy and longing, suddenly erupts. He screams, Drugoi! Drugoi! I'll never forget that scene. He's on the couch, like Sachar, his servant, is in the kitchen. Oblomov, I know, was an aristocrat. And man, he's not really angry at Sachar. He's angry at the entire machinery of social expectation. He's angry at the idea that he must live his life through the eyes of people who don't even know him. He's angry because he knows that he is not like others. And he is terrified of what that means. That moment is the whole anthropology lesson in one breath. Sachar, now, is the man who lives entirely through the gaze of others. Oblomov is the man who pretends he doesn't, but is secretly enslaved by it, as most aristocrats are. They change their clothing 8 times a day. They won't go to dinner if there's a stain on their suit. And both of them are trapped, both of them, in the same prison, the prison of what will they think? Well, there's nothing wrong with caring about community. There's nothing wrong with wanting to belong. It's part of the human animal. But anthropology reminds us we're not herd creatures. Oh no, we're predators, creatures of awareness. agency and individuality. Civilizations have spent thousands of years taming, curbing, and harnessing those instincts. Somewhere in that long process, many of us forgot who we were. So today, we're taking a deeper look at what individual presence actually means, at your right, your birthright, to explore and develop your uniqueness, and at the gumption and fortitude required to break through the emotional molds you were poured into. Because you do have talents, you do have needs, and you do have strengths, weaknesses, and fears, and all of that is fine. But beneath all of that is something even more important: your inner life, your inner being, the sanctity of becoming whoever, whatever you wish to be on your journey. And that is where the inner life reverses the entire sequence. You see, the outer life says first you do and then you be. Perform first, then maybe you'll be accepted. But the inner life says be first and then do. Choose who you are, then act from that place. Presence first, identity first, being first, and then, and only then, do you act. That's the shift, that's the freedom, that's the courage. To be other in a world terrified of difference. So with that, I think that's the study for today. Remain in peace, stay in peace, stop shrinking. Stop shrinking for people who aren't even looking. Yeah.